Here we go. Right, I think we're going, Will. I think we're nice. All ahead. So, thank you everybody who is currently tuning in. Of course, thanks for looking at us and having a listen to what we've got to say, especially in this really tough moment. Before we start, spoke to Will a second ago. Of course, the Queen passing and what we're going through at the moment, it's huge for everybody in the country. So for everybody who's going to be turning up tomorrow, we're playing in essence in memory of her and the fact that we're allowed to continue playing despite what's happened. Personally and for the club as well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the service that she has provided for my whole lifetime. I'm sure the majority of everyone's lifetime, and fingers crossed tomorrow we can put a performance in on the pitch that celebrates her. So just before we'll get that out the way, because it's a really tough moment for everybody. But moving on to the actual interview itself, Will, thanks very much for taking your time. I know you've had a super duper busy day, so we're going to try and get this one through as quick as possible. But just wanted to touch on the performance last week. Now you've had some time to reflect and some training sessions to sort of look at some of the things that maybe you wanted to work on. Could you just talk me through the performance and what you've been looking at in training this week?
Yeah, we weren't very happy with the performance last week. We started really well, as was discussed in the post-match interview, and then sort of fizzled, went off the ball a bit. The positives, we matched them in set piece. We were right. We held our own in the scrums, won some, lost some, but we held our own. Line-outs were pretty good early in the game, but then we started to miss the mark a little bit later in the game. But overall, happy with the set piece, and that's where we start, because that's where we win the ball. Defensively, a massive effort again, like proper Shelford defence, knocking them over left, right, and centre, stopping them from scoring tries. And at the end of the day, that defensive effort won us the game. So a lot of focus this week was to improve what we can do in attack, and it comes down to creativity. It comes down to working hard to get ourselves set so that we can play in multiple channels across the field. Early season, a little bit of lack of cohesion, but a lot of that backline had played together all of last season, so we should be firing more shots in attack, and that's our goal this week, is to fire more shots in attack. And cause Tring some issues all over the park, really.
Yeah, and talking about that back line, looking ahead to the lineup, of course there is a debutant this week, as there were a couple last week. What can CK offer to the side, and how is that back line going to change, of course, without Shingai following the injury last week?
Yeah, look, Shingai's he's our captain on the pitch. His work rate is massive. His ability to calm the side if we're starting to lose our way a little bit and get frustrated is really important. So that will be missed. But in saying that, CK brings speed that most other sides in the league won't have. We've already got Louis on the left wing, who probably would put his hand up to being one of the fastest guys in the league, and then CK has just got the edge on him. I think they're both running 10-second 100 metres, which is pretty impressive. I think in a foot race, it would be very interesting, but CK probably just out in front with speed. So, we've got to use these guys. We've got to make sure that we do the work, create space for them in the wide channels, and then get the ball to them and give them an opportunity to run. And I know, it's one of my biggest frustrations. I know it's one of Louis' biggest frustrations playing with the team for the last 2 seasons, is that he doesn't get enough ball early in space where he can do his thing. And there was a great example against Tunbridge Wells, where we just shifted the ball quickly to Louis and he's off. They just caught him. Fullback covered across and did a good job, but he made 30-40 metres in a blink of an eye. So we just need to use these guys more intelligently and give them the opportunity to do what they do, which is run bloody fast.
Of course, and setting that platform up, something that must have impressed you last week was the forwards effort. One of those players that we mentioned, the new starter, Bradley Robinson. How is the pack different compared to last week coming into this game against Tring?
Look, it's the same starting pack. Like I say, we started well. They had a bit of trouble at scrum time initially. But at the end of the day, they balanced it out. Milo coming on made a big difference. He won't be with us this week. He's at a wedding, and so is Grant, unfortunately. But that gives Nathan Taylor an opportunity to come onto the bench. And Nathan's a good scrummager. He'll add a bit of steel off the bench too, because it's going to be a physical game. So the younger guys are going to really have to up the physicality against the Tring boys. So Nathan's, he's an older head. He's a hard man, and he'll look forward to coming on and adding a bit of steel. And then of course we've got Sully coming on the bench as well, so he'll be the same. He'll be coming off and looking to just inject a bit of physicality and another level of combat in the set piece, but also around the park in defence and attack, around the breakdowns and the strong ball carries and stuff like that.
I'm very excited to see what Sully can bring. I spent a bit of time with him at the last game, and that was more than entertaining. So excited to see the on field as well. But in terms of obviously the opposition that we're going to face, there's so much that we've got to deal with anyway in terms of what's been happening with the passing of the Queen. But looking at the opposition and not the situation, what do Tring bring? No rhyme intended. What can they bring that's going to be a challenge for us, and where we're going to need to sort of try and exploit?
Yeah, look, again, it's a side that I haven't seen play before. So I think the last time we played them was 4 or 5 years ago when we were in this league. I have heard that they are a physical team. I've heard that they're a big side that likes to go route one and steamroll the opposition. They had a good start against a good Bedford Athletic team last week, so they're obviously firing. So we're going to have to match them physically. Defensively, we're going to have to put the shots on and put bodies on the line and really get stuck in, which is something that we can do. And then from an attacking point of view, we're going to have to be creative. We're going to have to shift the ball around. If they are a big side, we need to stretch them. We need to put balls in behind them, turn them around, make them play out of their half. We need to be intelligent in how we play the game to tire the big boys out and to keep ourselves, on the front foot against obviously a strong team. So it's going to be our biggest challenge. It's the biggest challenge that we've had since I've been coaching the team. And I said to the boys last night in the huddle, it's going to be the biggest challenge that a lot of the guys in this squad have ever had. There's a little bit of nerves and a little bit of anticipation around it. But I think we'll come tomorrow, we'll start to fire ourselves up, and we'll rise to the challenge as best we can.
Absolutely, I don't doubt that for a second. We mentioned it very briefly on our live last week, but of course this is the first home game of the season at the Davey Field. Sure, there are going to be many people down to come and watch the game. It's going to be a 3:00 kickoff. But yeah, of course, with what's going on, it's a good opportunity for you to come down, enjoy the day, and watch some brilliant rugby. So have you just got a final message to people who might be thinking about it, Will?
Yeah, look, I think it is very sad times for the country. When we were talking about should sport go ahead, should sport be cancelled, for us to come together tomorrow and as a club and as a group of people celebrate the Queen's life and what she's done for this country, and like you said, for nearly everybody that's here who she's been in reign since we were born, is a good thing. We'll have the minute of silence, we'll pay our respects. I think that, for me, is a more positive outcome than us sort of sitting at home or doing other things that might not necessarily have brought us all together. And the focus will be, a celebration of her life and everything she's done for this country. So I think it's a really good opportunity to come together and yes, rugby will be on the table, but there'll be a different message as well. There'll be a different agenda as well, which is to celebrate a fantastic woman's life. So yeah, be part of it if you can.
Yeah, thank you for those words, Will. It's definitely going to be a sad occasion, but like you said, a great chance to celebrate a life and be positive about it. We've got a couple of messages coming in the chat very quickly, Will, so I'm just going to fire them at you, and then you can go and watch the Colts who are playing at the moment. The well-known Ben Bates, question for the coach: what's the reasoning behind Jordan Freer as vice-captain?
Jordan Freer has a level head. He's an intelligent rugby player. I rate him as a quiet leader. in amongst the group. And I think he's the kind of guy that goes about his business in a quiet way. And I think, when it comes to set piece time, particularly line out time, he takes over and he should be calling the shots there. So he's a nice, humble, hard-working leader for me. A little bit erratic in his attendance every now and again, not warranted, but he hasn't gone on any holidays yet. So he's earned his VC at this stage of the season.
I think we'll leave it there, Will, on that light note. But thank you very much for your time. And for anybody watching or who's going to catch up on this, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the 3 o'clock kickoff. So we'll see you then. Thanks very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Josh.
Cheers.
See you, mate.